Hey, awesome peeps, Ishi here, and today I've got the A-team with me, Jude, Kathleen, and Arlene. We're diving deep into the world of biomolecules, breaking down their importance and throwing in some real-life examples that power our everyday hustle.
What's up, Ishi? Biomolecules? Why should we care?
Hang tight, Judes. Biomolecules are the unsung heroes of life. Picture this: proteins, carbs, lipids, and nucleic acids. They are the chemicals MVPs that keep us thinking.
Check this out, peeps. Proteins, like the architects of our body, give structure and strength. Think muscle, and we've got that in goodies like chicken and beans.
Energy alert! Carbs are the go-to pals. Pasta, rice, and your cereal stash, that's where the energy part is at.
And now, the lipids. These are the behind-the-scenes magicians, avocados, nuts, and olive oil. They're insulating and keeping things silky smooth.
Hold up, fam. Nucleic acids, the carrier of our genetic label. Strawberries, orange, and yes, that broccoli you're trying to love.
And shout out to DNA and RNA, the game changers. Yogurt and fish, they are rocking the genetic charge.
So, when you're munching that burger, you're loading up on proteins, pasta paste, carbs, are your partner in crime.
Avocado toast, the VIP breakfast, and those fruity snacks, nucleic acid are chilling in the mix.
Biomolecules are the rock star pulling the strings backstage, ensuring our bodies grow in the daily concert of life.
Ishi dropping knowledge. Now, why should we care about biomolecules? Because understanding them is like having the manual to this high-performance machine we call our body. It's the key to unlocking our well-being and navigating the dances of life.
So, buckle up, party people. Thanks for tuning in. Question or ready to crank it up a notch? Tune up for more in this discussion. We're here, ready to roll. Carbohydrates are a molecule made of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen in 1:2:1 ratio. So there is one carbon for every 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen in all carbohydrates. They are also known as sugars and have several key functions in living organisms. Rapid energy production through glycolysis, energy storage as glycogen in animals, and starch in plants, and a structural component of plants as cellulose and crustaceans and insects as chitin. The simplest form of carbohydrates are called monosaccharides. Mono means one and saccharide means sugar. So a monosaccharide is a single carbohydrate molecule. Examples include glucose, an important simple sugar that is a key energy source in living organisms and the core of many structural carbohydrates. Fructose is a sugar found in many fruits. Galactose is a sugar found in yogurt and is less sweet than fructose and galactose. And ribose is monosaccharides that help for DNA. You are probably also familiar with some disaccharides, which are the monosaccharides chemically bound together. Example includes sucrose, which is common table sugar and is formed from glucose and fructose. And galactose is sweetener in milk from galactose and glucose. People who are lactose intolerant have low levels of the protein lactose, which break down lactose, and if they cannot break down lactose, your stomach will be upset. When more than 2 monosaccharides are combined, a polysaccharides is formed. Starch, glycogen, and cellulose are all examples of polysaccharides, and they're all made of the same monomer, glucose. The way the glucose is bound together determines whether the resulting saccharide is starch, glycogen, or cellulose. Needless to say, carbohydrates are pretty important. Hopefully, this explanation helps you understand why.
Proteins are macromolecules made primarily of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen, but can have other atoms for certain proteins. Proteins are also abundant in the body and crucial to cell function that they are often called the building blocks of life. Let's first talk about protein structures, and then we'll talk about many of their fantastic functions. So, the basic subunit of all proteins are called amino acids, and there are 20 main amino acids in living organisms. These amino acids all have the same basic structure with a carboxyl group and an amino group, but differ in their R group or side chain. The resulting amino acid may be popular and non-popular, negatively charged, and positively charged, or aromatic. Just know that there are 20 amino acids with subtitle of difference resulting in a variety of chemical behaviors. These amino acids bonds with each other through a peptide bond and from long chains referred to as polypeptide chains. These chains that then form a bond with themselves for a complete protein, and sometimes they combine with other proteins to make a more complex protein structure. Hemoglobin is a great example of this. Hemoglobin is the structure in red blood cells responsible for carrying oxygen to the cell. It is made for globin protein, so subunits in each with an iron containing heme group. In other words, amino acids form polypeptide chains that can become complex quickly. Along with carrying oxygen through the body, proteins have many other important functions. Enzymes are proteins that exist in most chemical reactions in living organisms. It is the enzyme responsible for breaking down the carbohydrate lactose. In addition to digestion, enzymes also metabolic energy pathways, genetic function like transcription and translation, and signaling communication between cells, and the list continues. Proteins are also crucial in forming the interior structure of the cell and are responsible for transporting material both within the cells and between cells. And of course, our muscle and densely packed with proteins that facilitate the movement of our interbody. Proteins also include antibodies involved in our immune response and hormones used to communicate specific action in the cells throughout the body.
So now, let's move to the third part of biomolecules, the lipids. If you learned about the lipids before, you probably associate them with fats, and while fats are lipids, so are waxes, oil, steroids, and phospholipids. Lipids are macromolecules made up of a long hydrocarbon chains, thus named because they are made up exclusively of hydrogen and carbon. These long hydrocarbon chains give lipids their nonpolar property, which means they are not soluble in water. This is why oil separates out from water when it mixes. One of the most common components of certain lipids is the fatty acid. 3 fatty acids come together with glycerol to form a larger molecule called a triglycerol or triglyceride. Triglycerides have various functions in the body, but a primary one is energy storage as fat or adipose. Fatty acids also include saturated and unsaturated fats, trans fats, and the omega fatty acids. But we won't go into their detailed differences in this video. Another molecule that incorporates the fatty acid chain is the phospholipids. Most famous for its formation of the phospholipids bilayer, which protect a cell from outside intrusion. So phospholipids contain 2 nonpolar fatty acid tails bound to a polar phosphoglycerol head. This is why they form a bilayer, because the nonpolar tails are attracted to each other and the heads are attracted to water solutions in and out of the cell. So let's talk about steroid next. And yes, This includes this type of steroids, but that is not the focus of this video. Steroids are hydrophobic and not water-soluble like the other lipids, but they do not contain fatty acids. Instead, they have 4 cyclic rings linked together. This basic structure is then added to give us common steroids like cholesterol and cortisol. Steroids have many functions throughout the body, including the presence of hormone. Steroids like progesterone and testosterone both form from cholesterol. Finally, let's not forget about waxes. So waxes have a variety of unique structures, and it's found in the feathers of some birds and leaf structures of many plants. This is why water builds up or runs off certain plants.
There's a lot more to lipids. We didn't even talk about soap and detergent, but overall, this was a great overview. So our final organic macromolecule we'll cover is nucleic acids. A nucleic acid is an organic macromolecule, which means it's a large organic compound made from thousands or hundreds of thousands of smaller molecules. So there are 2 types of nucleic acids. First is deoxyribonucleic acid or DNA, and secondly is ribonucleic acid or RNA. Notice that both terms actually contains the word nucleic acid in them. In living organism, DNA is the main component of chromatin, which will condense into familiar chromosome, shaped prior to cell division. The DNA in chromosomes is organized in a specific order that makes up an organism's genes. Genes contain the directions for every function, trait, and activity in a living organism. These activities include growth, reproduction, and especially heredity, which means the ability to pass on genes to offspring. The other type of nucleic acid, RNA, is integrally involved in building specific proteins by assembling their amino acids in the correct order. So proteins are responsible for all cellular function in living organisms. So you might ask, what are nucleic acids made of? Of course, as an organic macromolecule, nucleic acids contain the element carbon. Like proteins, nucleic acids also contain hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. But nucleic acid also contain the element phosphorus. So what is the structure of nucleic acids? Well, both DNA and RNA are made up of monomers called nucleotides. So all of nucleotides contain 3 compounds. So the first compound is a phosphate group which contains phosphorus. The second compound is a 5-carbon sugar. All 5 carbon sugars can be called a pentose. A good way to remember this is that pents mean 5 and the suffix "-ose" means sugar. The specific pentose sugar in RNA is called ribose. The pentose sugar in DNA has 1 less oxygen than ribose in RNA, which leads to its name deoxyribose. The third compound in a nucleic acid nucleotide is a weak base that always contains nitrogen. For this reason, this compound is referred to as a nitrogenous base. The nucleotides in DNA contain 1 of 4 possible nitrogenous bases. They are called adenine, thymine, cytosine, or guanine. These bases are usually abbreviated as ATC and G. Similarly, the nucleotides in RNA also contain 1 of 4 nitrogenous bases, adenine, uracil, cytosine, or guanine. They are abbreviated as AUG, AUC, and G. So notice that both DNA and RNA have adenine, cytosine, and guanine, but only DNA has thymine, and only RNA has uracil. So now, how do nucleotide monomers assemble into nucleic acids? Well, the phosphate group in one nucleic bonds with a pentose sugar in another nucleotide. The assembled string of nucleotide forms of a nucleic acid polymer. Even though both RNA and DNA have a thymine sugar and phosphate groups. So there are differences in their overall structure. Like for example, RNA is a single-stranded nucleic acid, while DNA is a double-stranded nucleic acid. So the two strands in DNA are linked by a hydrogen bond that connect the nitrogenous base from one strand to the nitrogenous base from the other strand. So, in summary, nucleic acids are organic macromolecules. The two types of nucleic acids are DNA, RNA. DNA and RNA are used to transmit heredity, information, and to instruct the cell how to properly construct proteins. So, nucleic acid contains carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and phosphorus. Nucleotides are the monomers that bond together to form DNA or RNA. Nucleotides consist of three compounds: a phosphate group, a 5-carbon sugar, also known as pentones, and the nitrogen base. The nitrogenous base in DNA are adenine, thymine, and cytosine, and guanine. The nitrogenous base in RNA are adenine, uracil, cytosine, and guanine. So the 5-carbon sugar in DNA is called deoxyribose, while the 5-carbon sugar in RNA called ribose.
And that's a wrap, amazing folks. Ishi, Jude, Kathleen, and Arlene, signing off after this biomolecule bonanza.
But hold up! Before you click away, don't forget to hit that subscribe button below. We got loads more brain-boosting content coming your way.
And hey, if you enjoyed this video, and we know you did, give a thumbs up. It's like a high five through the screen.
We're here to fuel your curiosity, so hit the notification bell to stay in the loop for our future discussion.
So thanks for hanging out with us today. We hope you had as much fun learning about biomolecules as we did sharing the knowledge.
Share your thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you want us to tackle next? Your input guide us our journey.
Subscribe, like, and let's keep this knowledge exchange ruling until next time. Stay curious and stay awesome. Keep learning.
Catch you
Catch
in the next one.
And
Remember,
knowledge is power.
See you,
amazing
amazing
viewers.
viewers.